Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As you know, we specialize in hollering out what others are whispering. And today is a special, special day. We have been able to reconnect, if you will, with former football coach of the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, now of the FAMU Rattlers, and that's none other than Shotgun Willie Simmons. How you doing, my man?
Oh, doing well, Mike. Good to hear your voice, brother.
Well, it's good to hear your voice too, my man. And look, I want to get right into this thing. I watched your press conference, and I couldn't help but hear and see and even experience the satisfaction and relief of coming home. Can you explain and recap that for me?
Well, it was a special day for me. I grew up in these parts. People watched me from a little boy all the way through high school, become the student and player I became. And then I took a hiatus, so to speak, 19-year hiatus to go out and learn myself and figure out who I was and what I was going to do. And then the opportunity to come back home to a place that I grew up watching, sitting in those stands here at Bragg Memorial Stadium, watching my god brother, intercept passes, watching the guys that dated my sisters catch touchdowns, and then just to be able to be back home where so many memories and to have so many people in the stands that were instrumental in my upbringing. There's nothing like it, and it's just a great feeling, a special feeling, and it was very tough to leave Prairie View A&M, but just to experience everything I experienced at my press conference made me feel like I made the right decision.
Well, it was absolutely a homecoming of sorts, if you would. 3 bus loads of family members, your wife dancing with the mascot. She was just having a grand old time. And it seemed, at least from my vantage point, that the backing was there. Some things that stood out to my mind that I would like to share with you and get your feedback on. I heard numbers like 5,400 season tickets sold from last year that had doubled from not the best 3-year run that FAMU had in their football history, but the people were yet coming out and supporting. How important is that for players, coaches, and staff to see people in the stands, even if you're having a tough time?
Well, I think it's very important. You and I talked about this on numerous occasions. When you're talking about a culture of winning, I think it starts with your fan base. It starts with knowing that you're going to be supported, win, lose, or draw. And hopefully the wins come in abundance, and the losses are minimal. But to know that you have the financial support from your fan base, the support to come and watch you play. And it's nothing like seeing a packed stadium. As a player, as a coach, it's nothing like coming out of the tunnel and looking in the crowd and just seeing a sea of people supporting you in your school colors. And again, that's something that, again, like I said, you and I always will talk about. And, it just makes you feel like you have the support that you need to be able to get the job done, to be successful, year in and year out.
Now, we've always had an upfront relationship. Give it to me straight, brother. Was that part of the factor of you to move on back home?
Well, there were a lot of things that weighed into the decision to come back. I think that played a part in it. Again, I grew up here. I understand the history and tradition here. I know that FAMU alum are eager to win, and that they're ready to go back to being the premier school in not only HBCU football, but FCS football. This school won the very first, what is now referred to as FCS National Championship. The very first one in 1978. So we're the only HBCU that can make that claim. And there's a lot of history here, a lot of tradition here with the coaches that have been through here, Jake Gaither, Rudy Hubbard, Billy Joe. The list goes on and on. And I think that's something to me that I wanted to be a part of. I want my name to be able to be mentioned here along with those giants, in a place that I grew up, a place that I have great familiarity with, my wife and my family being alum. And, it's just a special feeling, and not to take anything away from Prairie View, none at all, but I didn't grow up in Texas. And sometimes you kind of feel like an outsider when you're not from Texas. Whereas here, home, as you can see, with like you said, 3 bus loads, I was embraced by not only my people, but just people in the community that, again, may not know me personally, but knew enough about me to feel like I come in and do a great job.
Absolutely. We have an exclusive right now with Coach Willie Simmons, former coach of the Panthers, now leading the Florida A&M Rattlers, and I'm getting used to rolling that off my tongue right now. But you made a very direct point to express the importance of being able to connect, to be able to feel a part of. And I know that you have, your ties. I'm a St. Louis transplant. I've been in Texas since 1988. I understand how you could feel the shiver of the cold shoulder at times, but you still focus on doing what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. With the opportunity to come back home, now that the water's under the bridge, when did it start coming on your radar that this possibility would be coming up?
Well, as the season progressed, naturally, that season wasn't going maybe as well as they had anticipated. So I have friends here. I have people throughout the community that again follow FAMU football, and so when he had a 3-year contract, everyone knew that he was on the last year of his contract, and so the rumblings kind of began. People would throw the idea out there, hey, Ray, would you come home? I'm using Ray now because I'm back home. That's what everyone here knows me as. But would you come back home? And I would quickly dismiss it because the reality of it was my sole focus was on Prairie View A&M and making sure that we were doing everything that we could to be the team we needed to be. And so it really didn't get real until I received a phone call from the athletic director, and we began to talk about the job and. He started throwing some dollar figures around and talking about some of the things that they were trying to do here to get this program back where it needed to be. And so at that point, which happened last week, that was last week, it happened. And, unfortunately, some information leaked that my name was the one that the search committee had released to the president. And I think they kind of made a premature proclamation that I was going to be the coach, and so it calls for about a 3 or 4 day kind of uncomfortable place for not only myself but FAMU, Prairie View, my athletic director here, Dr. Eason, Prairie View's athletic director, Mr. Robinson, who I have a great relationship with, and that was the tough part about it because we wanted to do everything professionally, we wanted to do everything first class, and I commend both sides. None of the information was coming from us. It was just coming from people on the outside who thought they knew what was going on. And so I commend Mr. Robinson for keeping everything close to the vest. You and I kept teasing, Coach, give me a statement. Well, there was nothing to give. I hadn't accepted the job yet. I had an offer, but I hadn't accepted the job yet. I was still weighing what I was going to do on both sides. And but there was a lot of pressure from, again, outside people because the news had leaked that I was their top choice. But again, I commend Esther Robinson, I commend Dr. Eason here, the administration on both sides for trying to do everything first class and professional until it became official news, I guess, on Monday. And of course, the guy here had the press conference on Tuesday. So, but it was a rough couple of weeks for me. A lot of things to think about, but. In the end, it worked out, and I think I gave Prairie View enough time to move on and to start their search for a new coach. And I have confidence that Asheville will do a great job in finding a new coach that can come in and continue the momentum and take them to even higher heights.
I put pressure on you?
You put pressure on me to give a statement.
Oh, man, I wasn't putting pressure. I was just trying to confirm before I would release anything. I respect your end, I respect FAMU's end, I respect Prairie View's end, but I still have an obligation to my listeners. That's all. That's all I was doing.
And I'm teasing you, but again, it was a tough time because it made things a lot more complicated, I think, for both administrations. Because of the news that was being leaked out, and that's the age we live in now. Social media runs things, and social media was really driving the whole process, whereas it wasn't, Dwayne over in this end, it was on their end, it wasn't Vaughn Wilson or SID here. It was social media driven, but again, it worked itself out. I think Mr. Robinson respects how I handle things with him, as I respect how he handles everything, and I appreciate everything that's been done throughout this process. And we can all kind of move on and figure out what's best for both programs, respectively.
Especially, and I really appreciate that. Now, for the record, I always try to be responsible for what I let out. I just didn't want to be blurping out stuff. But if we had a conversation way before this ever happened that someone forecast, don't be surprised you get a knock at the door. Remember that now.
I do remember that.
Okay, I'm just saying now. I'm just saying. We're talking right now with Coach Shotgun Willie Simmons. This is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Coach, you just made mention about everybody moving forward. We know that coaches are somewhat of a fraternity. What advice and or recommendation would you give to the incoming coach of Prairie View to be successful?
Just come in and put your stamp on it. Again, I think the kids there naturally have a certain feeling about me and what we've been able to do there for 3 years. And, the toughest part of this whole process was looking those guys in the face and tell them that, I was fielding offers from other places. And so, whoever goes in there, whether he promotes from within or goes outside, that person has to come in and put their own stamp on the program, their own philosophy on the program. And if they can do that, they'll have the support, they'll have the following. I still have faith in Prairie View Nation that they're going to get behind their football coach, that they're going to continue to grow that program the way that it needs to grow, because they've seen their fair share of success as well, in the 60s and 50s and 60s and before that. It just hadn't happened as recently as it has here, but the history and tradition is there. I just think they have to find a way to continue to pull it out. But whatever coach Esther Robinson hires, which again, I have all the confidence that he'll hire a great one, just needs to come in there and put a stamp on the program, allow the fan base to get behind him, get out in the community, get around the different chapters, and just make them feel like he's the right guy for the job. And if that happens, I think they can have the type of on and off the field success that they all envision.
Well, just when I was getting you broken in on getting the right PVGOLD, you bailed ship on me, man. Now I got to start the process all over again.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I'm gonna say for another coach, that ain't his call to make. I think you got to go some higher channels to get that done. But again, maybe he'll push the envelope a little bit harder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now let's talk about what you've inherited. You didn't inherit a bad team per se. You've inherited a team that could not finish in the fourth quarter, and now I'm talking about FAMU. You had a chance to kind of short glance look at your team. Tell us what you know and understand about the team you've inherited from Coach Wood.
Well, I think you hit a very, very good point. That there's talent on this roster. I didn't walk into a place where the cover is there. Like you said, they didn't finish games last year. Of course, when we realized our 7 Fs, finish is one of those critical Fs. And so we're definitely going to come here and try to teach these guys how to finish, try to teach them how to do little things right, and really just put, again, our philosophy on this program. And I think if we do that, we can be pretty successful pretty early. Again, it was very similar to what I took over there at Prairie View. A talented roster full of really good players who just needed to kind of be galvanized and buy in. And like I told the team 3 years ago, and I'll tell the same. I convey that same message to the team in January, that we'll win when everyone buys in. And if that's this year, I feel confident that we'll win games this year. If it takes a year or two before everyone buys in, it might take a year or two before we have the type of success here that we're capable of having. So that's the whole key. Of course, we have to go out and recruit and build a roster the way that we see fit and get the right type of players in here. But it's not a place where, again, the cupboard's dry or bare, whatever the term is. But they're good players. I think they want to win, and I think they'll be excited to get out there and work hard for this university.
We're speaking right now with Coach Willie Simmons of the FAMU Rattlers. This is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Now, Coach, I have been on record, and I'll say it again with your presence. The ultimate goal for Willie Simmons is to return to the FBS status. And until you get there, to me, this FAMU job was the closest thing to an FBS experience that you could get on an FCS level. Is that safe to assume?
Well, when you consider fan following, history, location, I think so. I think there are a lot of positives about this place that create a FBS feel. The president now teased the crowd at my press conference about me not being able to play here when I tried to transfer here in 2003. Well, that was because Florida A&M was trying to become the very first HBCU and only HBCU to make the jump to Division I FBS. And I think we have the resources here. I think we have the fan base, the ability to get players here. That if that's something that would be a vision that could happen. I don't know if it is, but I think it could. But my goal is to be the best coach that I can be, and to take young men to higher heights wherever I am. I think anybody in any profession aspires to one day be able to say they're the very best or work at the very highest level. Like I said, I'm sure you got a call from ESPN to come be the top radio guy. That would be a dream come true for you. And so, but at this point, I'm completely content and happy with the decision that I made to be the head coach here at Florida A&M. I'm not here to look for greener pastures. I'm not here to see how quickly I can get out. That's why I was committed to signing a 5-year contract here. Because again, I want to see this thing through. I have a love and there's an admiration for this university where I'm committed to seeing it become the university that we think is capable of being. And it may take 5 years for that to happen, but I want to be on the front end of it as well as the back end of it. So I'm very happy to be here. Again, I'm digging my feet in, and we're going to go to work. And I'm not looking over the horizon or over my shoulder. I'm not even looking at football school to see what jobs come open. I'm committed to building this program up the way that it was when I was a young boy, watching them be the premier HBCU, the premier FCS program, Formula 1 AA in the country. And that's what I think we're capable of becoming.
All right. Now, for the record, I have never desired to be at ESPN Radio. Never. In fact, part of my driving force is to show folks that you can be successful without that brand if you're focused on just doing the very best that you can do with what you have. Well, I do appreciate
you're right.
I do
You're
appreciate
right. Well, I don't think it's that brand, but I do think you'd like to have millions and millions of listeners to hear that great voice of yours.
Oh, you're trying to flatter me. It's working. Keep going. No, no, it's everyone's desire, I think, to be at the apex of whatever your craft is. And whatever you're doing, however you're getting it done, you just want to be appreciated and recognized for the greatness that you pour into your craft. And I can relate to that. I can truly relate to that. And I do take that as a compliment because I've got a couple of people that are talking to me right now. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'm truly dedicated to the success and the carryover of the FCS programs, in particular the MEAC and the Southwestern Athletic Conference, because I know that there are great leaders with coaches like as yourself and other coaches that throughout these conferences that don't get a chance to share their story on a regular basis. We'll have something coming up with the Celebration Bowl, but then the people are like, well, who is this and who is that? But they need to know and get a chance to see and experience you guys as individuals, not just X's and O's. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. But I do take that, and I'll cut that part out and run it on my network, the Prince and the Nice Voice and the ESPN stuff. I appreciate it. We're talking with Shotgun Willie Simmons. Coach, as always, I've told you, thank you, and we'll continue to track, monitor. We even got a slot for you because we cover the MEAC conference throughout football season on our network, and we got a FAMU slot waiting on you. And all you got to do is walk right on in and plug the gap. Is there anything you'd like to say and wrap up on this exclusive interview with us here at the Open Mic?
Well, I would like to say, Mike, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say farewell to the Prairie View fans. Again, I spent 3 years there, and it was a great experience. I learned a lot. My first head coaching job, and taught me a lot. And I'm continuing to learn and grow as a head coach to this day. But again, I thank you for the opportunity to say my farewells. Again, this process has been extremely fast, and things happen kind of in a hurricane's pace, so to speak. But again, just the friendship we built over those 3 years means the world to me, and hopefully we can continue that friendship and relationship as we both move forward in our respective careers. But look forward to continuing to grow with you, and hopefully I can be on the show as much as you allow me to, and much as the people there would want to hear me. And I still have a great love and respect for Prairie View A&M. I appreciate everything that they've done for me and my family, and I won't ever forget that, because again, they were the place that gave me my very first opportunity to be a head coach, and I remember that for the rest of my life.
Well, my friend, the door is always open, and if you allow me to take from one of those famous hotel chains, we'll keep the light on for you. That's just the way we roll here at the Open Mic. He is Willie Simmons, now head coach at FAMU. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Radio Guy. Instagram is Radio Guy 22. The website is obn-radio.com. And don't forget the YouTube subscription, Open Mic Broadcast Network. For those of you who are on the go, you can listen to the Open Mic Broadcast Network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year from the access of your telephone. We simply refer to it as our low-tech app. All you have to do is dial in 605-477-5066. Until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.